Hello everyone, FrankTastic here, and welcome to some Recon Breakpoint. And in this video, I will be going over one of my personal favorite stealth Panther classes, and this class is most definitely considered a close to medium range class because I'm using the MP7. And let's go ahead and get into the way I have the class set up. I'm running Panther because personally I just prefer the Panther class when it comes to stealth. I'm using the Explosives Expert perk mostly just for the fact because of the 60% plus throw range. I'm using the Slim Shadow perk obviously because it is a stealth class. You really want that stealth perk, which playing on Elite, Ghost mode, Immersive mode, Extreme settings, I don't know how much it actually helps, but I guess it helps in some sort of manner. And I am also using the Close and Personal perk. This one I switch out with Sensor Hack depending on how many drones is in a base. But more likely I normally use Close and Personal, Sensor Hack, and sometimes I've used Burst Forth, but I don't really use Burst Forth that much at all. This is how I normally run my class, but now let's look at the weapons. Since this is the close to medium quarter loadout, I do go with the MP7. I'm not saying the MP7 is the best SMG, I'm just saying for me it is the most preferred or most recommended SMG. But let's go ahead and look at the camo, which is just khaki base, and then everything else is black except for the stock. That's still khaki. If you notice in my videos, I actually switch my camos on my weapons pretty often, and you would never see me have my weapon all one camo unless it's black. That's just a personal preference thing for me. But my magazine, I either run a small mag or the standard. I will never run a extended mag on a SMG unless I'm trying to roleplay as Fury, because Fury runs a Vector and she has a extended mag on her Vector. But other than that, you will actually rarely ever see me run a extended mag on a SMG. But moving on to the muzzle, obviously I have a suppressor since this is supposed to be a stealth based loadout. The rail, now this is probably where it really gets nitpicky or personal preference, but I'm going to show the reason why I prefer the PEC 15. And starting out with the Optimal ×3 laser, as you can see, it sits really really off center and on the right side of the barrel. So I'm going to go ahead and show you what it actually looks like. Since I play no crosshair, no HUD, this is what I would see if I'm aiming at someone. But if I look down my sights, as you can see, the laser is not even, I mean, it's kind of close, but it is most definitely not on target. So if I shoot, my laser isn't even aiming at what my barrel is actually aiming at. And since I do most of my stuff third person, the laser sight being off-centered with the barrel can really mess up my shot, because as you can see, the bullet is actually hitting above and a little bit to the left of the laser sight. And this can really affect your aim, especially at different distances. Because up close, obviously, it would seem more on target, but the further away the target you're aiming at, it's really going to be hard to see. Well, at least it's going to be hard to see the laser sight, but like, if you can see, then the laser sight will be off. Like right here, you can see the shot is actually hitting right. The shot is actually hitting up and left of the laser sight. And it's all based on where the laser sight sits. And so for the people who ask why don't I just use the maul on every weapon, and honestly I just feel like the maul laser sight is just overused, and I don't like that. Also, if you look at where it sits, it's still not exact with the barrel. It's still not centered with the barrel. So it does a very similar effect to what that previous one does. It is green, or a light green, so it's easier to see, but it's still not directly centered with your sights, with your barrel. So I've actually used this sight with this weapon in the past, and there's been a lot of times where I was moving into a building and I would be aiming at someone's head, probably about this distance, maybe this distance, and my laser was on the guy's head, and I would shoot, and the bullet would actually either go above the guy or like past his head to the left. And I was like, what the heck? I thought the game was just bugged out, but after doing some testing and some reviews and stuff, I have realized that the laser sight was not exactly centered with your barrel and your sight. There's that, and then the PEC-15 actually sits almost right on top. I mean, the sight itself sits on top of your weapon, but the laser sight is just a little bit off-centered. But out of all three laser sights, this is probably the most centered laser sight that you will find for this particular weapon. And now if I look at it, it is almost dead center with my sight. It's only a little bit below it at this distance, but if I still shoot in third person with using my laser sight, that bullet is going to hit directly where my laser sight is. As with those previous two, it did not. I most definitely prefer the PEC-15 laser sight for the MP7 mostly because it sits on top of the weapon. And for me, I am always going to go for the most accurate laser sight. And the PEC-15, for majority of the weapons that I've seen anyways, normally sits on top of the weapon, but there are some weapons where it sits on the side and the maul sits on top. If you're playing with crosshairs, honestly, you don't even need a laser sight. I use a laser sight because of the fact I don't play with crosshairs, so there's that. But the scope, if you switch the scope to this scope, for example, the PEC-15 sits on the side of the weapon, and I think all of them do, actually. For my testing and experimenting, this scope right here, the ATPIAL ×3, or Aptipole, or however you actually say it, will always sit right here on your weapons. And the maul can either sit right here or actually sit on top of the weapon, depending on the weapon. And the PEC-15 will either sit on the side or on top. I think it also depends on the weapon and the sight you're using. Even if I switch to this, it still sits on the side. So one of the reasons why I run this scope for the MP7 is because the PEC-15 laser sight actually sits on top of the weapon. And also, it's a close to medium range weapon. I don't need no freaking 4x or 6x scope on this weapon. And I would normally run the red dot, but since the laser sight gets moved, I stick with this one. Now, I haven't tested if this one moves it, which it doesn't, but honestly, it looks like the laser sight would just kind of be in the way. Let me look. I haven't even tested this. Oh my god. Oh my goodness. I mean, it looks like it would still be pretty accurate, but I've honestly just gotten so used to using the macro T1 sight. I've just gotten comfortable using this one with this weapon, so this is what I'm going to stick with. The laser sight actually does work based on where it is attached to your weapon. So if it's sitting on the side, it's going to be off. If it's sitting on top, that's honestly going to be the closest you can get to being very accurate with the barrel. Moving on to the pistol, I actually have 3 pistols that I normally use, but recently I actually switched to the P227. I haven't used this weapon that much, which is why it's still Mark 1, just simply because I don't have freaking metal parts to upgrade anything, because I'm playing ghost mode and I honestly don't know how to get metal parts other than maybe destroying drones and stuff. But every time I get metal parts, I always use it on another weapon, and then I'm like, oh crap, I forgot I need to upgrade this pistol. I am using the P227. The other 2 pistols I normally recommend is the CSFP, the USB Tactical, and every now and again I do use the M9 and 1911. And of course the new Splinter cell pistols, which is the Mark 23. Honestly recommend the P227 over all the pistols, is mostly because of the mobility is very high and the recoil. Now I know it only has 20 damage, but it's also a 45 caliber pistol, and if you notice, I really like this weapon's iron sights. Normally, whenever I switch to my pistol, 9 times out of 10 when I use my pistol, and you may have noticed this in a lot of my videos, especially recently, I normally switch to first person. Because whenever I'm clearing buildings or rooms and like the walls are just very crowded and the third person camera just makes it hard for me to see, I would switch to first person. And honestly, I just feel like I can see more, or at least see what I'm actually aiming at with this compared to a lot of the other pistols. But also, if I happen to miss the headshot, or if I'm just going for body shots, the recoil on this is really, really low. If you switch to this pistol, which this is the pistol I was using for the longest time. Oh, wait, I forgot I gotta go to the bivouac to switch my weapons. But if you switch to this pistol, obviously going ahead and looking at the stats of it, the range is good, but the mobility, accuracy, handling, and recoil all goes down. But it does have a 3 extra bullet clip, depending on the size of the magazine, I guess. And it has a 31 damage output. But if you switch to this pistol, look, the pistol just seems like right in my face. And also, if I try to shoot multiple shots, the recoil goes straight up and then down. So if I take a shot at someone and it's not a headshot, it's a body shot, I can't really see. I can't really see if my aim is still on that enemy or not, because the gun just goes straight up. Why does my character keep breaking like this? But yeah, going back to this one, I mean, look, I just feel like I can just see so much more in front of me with this pistol. And if I'm shooting at someone, you know, it's not, the recoil isn't bringing it up in my face. So anyways, I'm going to go ahead and move and probably take this base down. I might move over here or over here. These 3 bases you probably see a lot in like my tutorial videos and stuff like that, and honestly it's just because they're really close to a bivouac, and if I did decide to run to one of these other bases, they're really not that far. So these bases I do consider like my practice or tutorial bases, most because of that. They're just so close together, they're so close to a bivouac, I can just run to them. There's another bivouac right there if I need to. If I clear out this base, want to run up here, then run over here, whatever the case is. And these are the 3 bases that I normally run my STFU unit through whenever we practice or warm up or whatever. Anyways, moving on, I'm going to clear out this base. I don't know if I will do one of the other 2 bases because this video probably has dragged on a lot longer than I expected it to. But I do have other classes and other loadouts I will be showcasing. But I really don't want these videos to drag out too long. I'm probably going to make each class its own video, each loadout its own video, and I am doing outfit tutorials. I don't know how to do outfit tutorials. I don't know, like, do I commentate that or do I just put like word text in it? I don't know. But I know a lot of y'all really want outfit tutorials, so
oh shit.
Oh, that was a miss. I know a lot of y'all want outfit tutorial guides videos, so I'm working on them. I have so many outfits that I do and that I create. There's a fight going on over there. What was I saying? So many outfits that I create and stuff because I just love outfit customization. So
my buddy was there when the bombs went off.
Hey,
Doc says he might lose a leg.
Please don't hurt me.
look at that. One of the I guess I could go ahead and try to explain when I decide to use this weapon. Since it's a close to medium range class, I normally decide to use this weapon if the base is a small base or if I'm going to be at a close to medium range majority of the time. If I'm clearing a lot of buildings, then I will be using this weapon because the If you're aiming down your sights and you're playing ghost mode, not regular mode, because regular mode, you know, your clothes and stuff can have like bonuses and crap like that. So ghost mode, like how I play on, you don't have those bonuses. So using the SMG, especially this MP7, it has a high mobility. I do think there's other SMGs that might have a higher mobility, but you got to put a lot of other things into the equation instead of just high mobility. But this MP7, compared to like my DMR and my ASR weapons that I used for stealth, it has the highest mobility. So whenever I'm going into a base that has a lot of indoors, or it's a small base similar to this, and there's just a lot of room clearing, whatever the case is, I will be using this weapon just because of the mobility it has. And when I say mobility, I mean like when I'm aiming my weapon and moving, it has a very fast mobility. Because if I was using my ASR or my DMR right now, my character would be very slow.
They got Hawkins and Grant. Doesn't feel real. We need another sniper. Can't see too far out there. Not enough.
Now for the pistol, you may notice this, that I do this a lot. Like especially if I'm going to a room, I will switch to first person so I can see, because I can see so much more if I'm just moving into a room or a building, aiming down sights. Now I prefer to use my pistol because I don't have like an actual scope on it. Because if I did it with my primary weapon, you know, I'm normally always going to have a sight attachment on it. It makes it kind of harder to see, especially with that lens glare on the scope itself. It just makes it harder to see when, if I'm using my pistol, it's just so much easier to see. But I guess this can also be a personal preference, but I mean, like, for me, this is just so much easier.
Hey, don't shoot!
I'm not gonna shoot you, you stupid woman, but I might. Okay, so there's not many people left. I think there's only like 5-6 people. There's that sniper on top of the towers, the green towers up there. I saw him when I was outside here. He was right here that last time I went through this door. So there's a few people left. This base normally doesn't have that many people unless there's like a faction mission here or something like that, then there might be a couple extra people here. So I think it's just the sniper and this one guy that walks back here.
I have somewhere I have to be.
But if you're wondering how come I'm not switching my pistol to move in this door, it's just because this door's wider. I can actually move in here with my primary in third person. I kind of wish they would add it to where like the enemies would see my laser sight, because I feel like that would just make it so more realistic, and I would really have to watch where I'm aiming my weapon. But at the same time, with how this game has bugs and stuff, I feel like they would probably see your laser sight when they shouldn't be seeing your laser sight.
I don't know if you heard,
Trying to get a
but
pistol
Hawkins
kill.
and Grant, they're not going to be coming home.
I think it's the sniper that's left. Yeah, he's right up there. The snipers, especially on rails like this, sometimes the game bugs out. I mean, I consider it a bug, because they would be standing right here, and they might be facing, you know, that way or whatever. And like I wouldn't be able to see them at all, but then they can spot you. So you really got to be careful when it comes to snipers, because they have X-ray vision apparently. If he was facing my direction, I probably wouldn't really be able to see his weapon. But if he was facing me, he would see me right now, even though like I can't see him. Sometimes it's hard to see these guys, like get a clear shot when they're like up on these things. Depending on your angle and the weapon you're using and stuff like that. Like, I think he would be able to see me right here, I think, when he's like walking from one side to the other. Could probably get a headshot. No, he's moving. Probably get a headshot on this side. Yeah. Once he got into his position, I wouldn't be able to see his head. Got him. So this base should be clear. I'm not sure why it's acting like it's not. I'm pretty positive I've killed everybody. But sometimes there's a bug in this game, because this stance that my character's standing in right now, and this camera angle being so close to my character, it means that danger is close. I am close to some form of enemy. I don't know if it's a actual human enemy, or if it's a drone, or if it's a turret. But I've noticed, you know, people's asked me, how do you know if you're playing no HUD? How do you know if the base is clear? And it's all about the camera angle and your character's stance. I have my camera angle at dynamic, because I mean that's just what that's how the game has been on since, you know, beta. The camera has always been dynamic, so I'm not gonna switch it just because someone wants me to play with a close camera or a far camera. I mean, when it comes to camera angle, that's all personal preference. Don't come at me and tell me I need to have a close camera or a far camera. That's all personal preference, you stupid bitch. And if it sounds like I'm attacking someone, you're most definitely right. I'm not seeing any movement other than civilians. I'm not hearing any voice lines. What's voice lines is what give away the enemy's position. I'm pretty positive I've killed everybody. Wait. What the fuck? How? What? I'm so. Is there a faction mission here that I didn't know about? Okay, for one, how did I miss that guy? And for two, when I went around that earlier, how did that guy not see me? I'm going to, when I get over there, I'm going to pretty much backtrack. I'm pretty much going to go the exact same route that I did the first time and see if I did see him. I came through here, then I checked this door, and then I came over here, and I think what it was I was talking about my mobility. But this vehicle's on. I would have heard that. And I went around this, and I even stood there for like a second or two to kill that one guy, and he didn't see me. This vehicle is on. I would have heard that. Now the base is clear. But you see how my camera angle kind of zoomed down, and my character is standing, you know, just at ease pretty much. That lets me know that the base is clear, or at least that, you know, I'm not near any enemies. This guy must have had a drive up or something. I don't know. Anyways, that's going to be it for this video. This weapon loadout is my preferred close quarter to medium range loadout. I didn't even go over the gadgets, but I pretty much use the same gadgets on almost every class. A flashbang and either this, or if there's drones, I would switch to an EMP, or if it's just a big base and I feel like, you know, possibly having a diversion, I would have C4, and I would either plant C4 somewhere, move on somewhere, explode it, have everybody run to it when I'm on the other side of the base, or I would put C4 on the generator, or I would place mines. When it comes to gadgets, I can't really tell you what's the best to do, because sometimes, you know, you have to get this damn thing out, which I feel like this shouldn't even have to be equipped, you know. I feel like as long as you have one, you can just walk up to a fence. I hate having to switch to this to breach a fence and then switch back out of it. But either way, when it comes to gadgets, these are normally the gadgets I will use, or this might be C4 or an EMP. But that's going to be it for this video. This is my personal favorite close quarter, medium to range loadout. I hope even if you don't use this, maybe it will be like a base guide for you to create your own. I will be creating other videos on other loadouts that I use. After this one, I'm probably going to record my ASR stealth loadout, which that one's probably going to be hard for me to do because I have like 3 ASR weapons that I prefer over all the other ASRs, so I guess I'm really going to have to just nitpick and decide on which one I prefer to be my #1 ASR. I hope you enjoyed this video. Click the like button if you did. Click the subscribe button if you're new to the channel and you want to see more. I hope you have an amazing day, and you will see me in the next video.
She just wants to flirt, so I flirt right back. I just put in work, yeah, I work like that. Got me falling and it hurts, yeah, it hurts so bad. All in and it's worth everything I have. I could feel the butterflies multiply every time I meet your eyes. Amplify deep inside once I feel your skin on mine. Though I try, I can't hide all the ways I feel inside. You're everything I want in life.